The morning mist clung to the cemetery like a shroud as the black funeral procession wound its way through the iron gates. In the lead car, 6-year-old David sat stiffly between his Aunt Rose and grandfather, his small hands clutching a single white lily so tightly its stem bent. Outside the window, rows of gray headstones blurred past as the car rolled to a stop near a fresh plot of earth. The scent of damp soil and funeral flowers filled the air when Rose opened the door. But David hesitated before stepping out. He didn't want to see his mommy in that box. Not again. The night before had been the viewing where David had stood on tiptoes to peer into the casket at his mother's still face. She looked like she was sleeping, except no breath stirred the lace collar of her favorite blue dress. That's when he'd first noticed something was wrong. The silver locket, the one with the tiny heart that held both their pictures, the one Mommy promised never to take off, wasn't around her neck like it should be. He'd told Aunt Rose then, but she'd just hugged him and said maybe the funeral people had taken it off to make Mommy more comfortable. But David knew better. Mommy never took it off. Not ever. Now, as the pallbearers carried the casket to the gravesite, David's stomach twisted. The morning sun glinted off the polished wood, making him squint. Around him, grown-ups sniffled into tissues, their shoes crunching on the gravel path. The minister was saying words about heaven and angels, but David wasn't listening. His eyes were fixed on the casket, now resting on a metal frame above the rectangular hole in the ground. When it came time for final goodbyes, Rose lifted him up so he could see inside one last time. That's when he saw it again. The bare skin where the locket should be. This time, in the bright sunlight, he noticed something else. Faint red marks on his mother's neck, like someone had yanked the necklace off hard. "Aunt Rose," David whispered urgently, tugging at her black sleeve. "The bad man took Mommy's necklace!" Rose bent down, her face pale under her veil. "What, sweetheart?" "The bad man who made Mommy sleep. He took her necklace." David pointed at his mother's throat, his finger trembling. "See? It's gone, and she's hurt there." A strange look crossed Rose's face as she peered closer. David watched as her eyes widened, then filled with fresh tears. But these weren't sad tears. They were angry ones. Suddenly, Rose was standing straight, her voice cutting through the minister's prayer. "Stop the service," she said, louder than necessary. "We need to stop right now." The funeral director rushed over, thinking the grieving sister was having a breakdown. But when Rose showed him what David had noticed, the missing locket, the marks on Haley's neck, his professional calm fractured. Within minutes, police cars were rolling through the cemetery gates, their lights flashing silently in respect for the funeral. Detective Sarah Wilkins would later tell reporters it was the most unusual tip she'd ever received. A murder investigation launched because a first grader noticed his mother wasn't wearing her jewelry. But as evidence unfolded, it became clear David's innocent observation had uncovered a calculated crime. Security footage from a traffic camera half a mile from the accident scene showed a red pickup speeding away moments after Haley was struck. The vehicle matched the description of one owned by Vincent Carter, David's absentee father, who'd suddenly reappeared in town 3 weeks before Haley's death, demanding visitation rights. Phone records revealed 27 unanswered calls from Vincent to Haley in the days leading up to her death. Most damning of all, when police executed a search warrant on Vincent's apartment, they found Haley's locket hidden in a sock drawer, its chain snapped clean through. The autopsy told the rest of the story. Bruising around Haley's neck indicated a violent struggle before the accident. Paint chips embedded in her clothing matched Vincent's truck. And the life insurance policy, the one Vincent had taken out on David just 2 days before Haley's death, revealed his true motive. At the trial, Vincent maintained his innocence, claiming he'd found the locket on the sidewalk near the accident scene. But the jury only needed 3 hours to reach a verdict. As the judge read the guilty sentence, David, now living safely with Rose, was at school, drawing pictures of his mother wearing her favorite necklace. He didn't need to see the trial to know the truth. He'd known it that day at the funeral, when he saw that empty space where his mother's locket should have been. Today, a new headstone stands in the cemetery, its inscription simple: Haley Carter, beloved mother. Below the dates, Rose had added a single line at David's insistence: she always kept her promises.